part of the nature of stereotypes is that you don't even notice them. We live and breathe them in many ways, and I think what's more relevant is almost what we do with them and what we do about them and what we take forward from them.
My gut reaction would be that this person looks like they do something athletic and sporty because they're wearing athletic wear.
I think they're confident. I think they really know what they want to convey with their style. And just really positive and cheerful.
This is a very warm openness I'm getting, assertive but not aggressive.
They don't appear to be super cocky like in the photo. I don't think that they're like full of themselves necessarily.
There's a level of quality that I feel like they expect out of anything they're producing.
He looks like he might be like a dancer, is what I would say. Based on this outfit, I could see him doing some kind of like modern dance.
I want to say they're on stage somewhere.
I'm getting this as sort of like a headshot, like for a casting company.
Probably the most flirtatious of all the images. There's a lot of direct gaze going on that I think comes across very strongly.
With the whole kind of hipster vibe that I'm getting from this, there's a concerted effort to be appearing in a non-mainstream fashion, one where this person doesn't follow every trend, but they rather are ahead of the trends in that way.
Stylish, very confident. They've got a kind of edgy personal style going on.
Facial expression is very happy and hopeful.
This person reminds me of like when you have brunch in like P-Town, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't see them at the bar necessarily the night before, but you see them having brunch with like their significant other and like dogs, you know, and you're like, oh, like maybe in 15 years that'll be me.
Oh my God, she's so pretty. So this girl clearly is not single because no one looks this good and is single.
Really confident, so the type of person who walks down the street not really worrying too much about, you know, what other people think of them, but with moments of insecurity when they might be alone or if something negative happens in their life.
I feel like she's been through some stuff that she knows is not okay, but she knows she's going to be okay.
The type to maybe enjoy either craft beer or like some kind of craft beverage, like, I don't know, whiskey maybe.
Tequila drinker? Tequila vodka drinker.
Trying different types of roasts of coffee, talking about it, blogging about it.
I think he probably rides a fixed gear bike.
Circus activities, maybe like juggling or tightrope walking or acrobatics.
Cloth totes usually signify two things, right? Like you're trying to not use plastic, or it has like some eco-friendly, like passive-aggressive message on the front. So like either way, like you're sending a message if you're carrying a cloth tote.
I also feel like she could work for one of those like, not quite earthy, crunchy nonprofits, but one of those like humanitarian relief, you know, human services sector of nonprofits.
I feel like she definitely has things to do because her bag is so full.
Food shopping, read the cloth tote.
They look politically engaged based on having some pins on, and looks like they've got some kind of a logo on the tote bag.
I'm making a lot of assumptions based on the cloth bag.
Really been interested in fashion and proud of their appearance. The hair has been done very neatly and stylishly. The glasses look designer. The outfit is very smart and sharp, but with a twist of their own personality coming through.
Potentially a photo shoot. But that expression, maybe somebody just made them laugh.
I bet you they read a lot. I bet you they read, or at least like are one of those people who like actively, consciously try and like, you know, read, or maybe they just read because they want something to talk about.
I feel like some type of nonprofit work.
Probably business administration, management perhaps.
Does something in like a nonprofit sector, but like on a more administrative, like I still want to like give back, but like I'm also still part of the bureaucratic pyramid.
I don't want to presume gender, so I'll just go with they for now. Because they do have a bit of an androgynous look to me.
So, I mean this with full respect, I think that's a girl. Not quite clear.
I imagine he may date men.
Not to say she's a lesbian, but to say that she's lesbian friendly or lesbian adjacent.
They probably have like, you know, this like long-term girlfriend, like, I don't know, but that's just because I assume a lot of lesbians are always dating somebody.
I could see this person having like a girlfriend or like a queer partner.
Individual, I shouldn't necessarily assume it's a she.
She has a very balanced love life.
Kind of androgynous presenting. So to me, that makes me feel like they would be one of my like queer friends. I imagine that they do present as a female, so I'll just say she.
She gives a good contour.
This girl can take a selfie.
She looks like somebody who would play derby with me because of the nose ring, and she's got that sassy kind of smirk.
Like I said, she knows she's pretty, but I think she wants everyone to know there's more to her than just how good she looks on the surface. And I think that's sort of maybe, and I may be stereotyping here, and that's kind of the case, but she wants people to know there's more than just good looks in the world, and then there's more specifically to her than that. But I mean, she's stunningly pretty.
I'm not so sure just because it's a more consciously posed photo that they've clearly taken for themselves. So in this image, I think they maybe see themselves as again, confident, fulfilled.
I feel like she's entertaining the idea of brunch soon, but she's not there yet.
Potentially just waking up one morning and deciding to go to the beach or to go on a hike, something like that.
I would imagine that she has a male partner, and maybe a kid, maybe not. But I could see her being like young, married, sort of like recently married.
Like, I feel like she has a lot of nieces, cousins, little cousins, like kids around her.
She's definitely someone who looks like she wants to help people and be around people. But I could see her doing something like being a vet.
Out like at like a 3 a.m. situation, like, you know, that person that you need like desperately crave a cigarette from, and like you haven't smoked in like weeks, but like that moment you need one, like that looks like someone who I might bum a cigarette from.
You've got an eye for arts and colours, judging by the fact that this is not just a plain suit jacket, this is purple velvet. Yeah, really bold, really out there. I love it.
Obviously take a lot of time into their appearance and wardrobe, and I know how long that takes on the side. So definitely shopping and getting ready and like planning and coordinating like where you're gonna go, what you're gonna do. Plus having an undershave of any type, I feel like, is a lot of maintenance.
Where do you find all these people with fantastic fashion?
Hair or like makeup artistry.
Design of some sort. Graphic design, interior design, something like that.
She has lots of cats.
I reckon there's someone who's got an eye for really cool, quirky vintage stores or thrift stores, that kind of thing.
I think this might be like dress up occasion for like a wedding or something, but I do imagine this person dresses in sort of a butch or trans masculine way, probably wears ties and coats.
This person is business. Like they know what they're doing.
I guess the obvious thing would be business, but it could be anything from more like the arty side of business, maybe arts administration or management, that kind of thing, in theatre or an art gallery.
I think that they are pretty confident in their identity, and I think that they probably want to come across as queer based on the, you know, clothing choices, and it looks like they have an eyebrow piercing. And so that's really cool that they want people to know who they are, and they're very proud and self-assured of that.
Probably like sports. I would assume like that they are involved in some way with sports, like maybe like on a rec team or something like that.
I feel like this person goes to man-made lakes to swim. I feel like they jump off of tubes into creeks.
I'm going out dancing somewhere, out at a bar, just kind of hanging out, you know, maybe doing some kind of like group activities with people, be it kind of like a bocce ball type thing or something like that. But definitely there's an active component to it.
You just automatically picture them in a group, not any sort of specific group, just a small group of friends who enjoy spending time together. I can see them laughing and chatting away.
Definitely like a gay bar or like some type of like party, you know, like a queer party, or like a, you know, where like predominantly people of color or queer go to.
I feel like this is a romantic type of person. Like they're like let me wow you with these flowers and these dentures and this nice car I probably have.
Really soulful eyes.
In this image, they look like a bit of a thinker.
They think that they're pretty deep just based on the pose. It's like, it's a very serious, like an austere pose.
He seems thoughtful. He seems pretty quiet and introspective just in this picture. So I imagine he would be kind of reserved.
What I want to say is something like, well, they're an actor, so they're probably trying to look for their next job or paycheck, but that's kind of a really gross assumption on my part.
I think they live alone in an apartment, like a studio or a one bedroom. Again, in a big city, but not necessarily the biggest city. So like maybe a Seattle, San Francisco. I could definitely see this person fitting in Philadelphia as well.
Screams Brooklyn to me.
Manhattan, like, Brooklyn, something like that. A really cool city.
They are definitely a performer in some way, be it a theater performer, be it a dance performer, be it an artist in some way, but they're very serious about their craft and what they do.
Them in a cafe or a bar, maybe a show like a concert. I think I'd be a little intimidated to approach them, but they seem really cool.
My name is Aileen. I live in Glasgow, Scotland. I work as an English tutor at the moment.
Hi, I am Brandon. I would like an entertainment job where I can entertain, produce, and write.
My name is Teasley. I use they, their pronouns. I'm in grad school right now, full-time for physical therapy.
I am Nick. I work in the city of Lowell doing fundraising for a theater company.
In my head, I don't call it Sarah. It's supposed to be pronounced Sada. I'm a math teacher in Harlem, New York.
So my name is Tammy. I'm technically an IT auditor, but my passion is writing and gaming. I identify as a lesbian for the most part, but my gender identity is in flux. I actually will answer to any pronouns. I haven't made a decision or a categorization for myself yet.
I identify as a female, like as a woman, and I would say I'm a lesbian, but I've always said like I never completely negated the idea of being with a man. I just have found that it's just not been really my cup of tea, and I just have not been able to establish romantic relationship with them. So I feel like it's like a pretty hard sign. But yeah, I would say I'm a lesbian.
Sexuality is fluid and shifts over time. So I would say going through my teenage years, despite having never been in a relationship, I think I've assumed that I'm straight. But now coming into my 20s, still not in a relationship, living that dream, I would probably more confidently place myself in the broad spectrum of bisexuality. That's just an identity that I feel fits me a lot more comfortably at the moment.
And I have been with my husband married now for about 1.5 years. We've known each other for almost 10 years. We live together in a 2-bedroom apartment with our 2 cats, Mooch and Patch, twin brothers.
Okay, so gender identity, gender queer or gender nonconforming. So that means that I don't identify as a man, I don't identify as a woman, and I think that there are, is a whole spectrum of gender. As far as my gender presentation goes, I am more on the femme sort of side of things. And then for my sexual orientation, I identify as pansexual, which means that I feel attracted to people who are masculine presenting, feminine presenting, or even androgynous presenting. So kind of anywhere on that spectrum.
2-year relationship with a gentleman older than me who is not from this country.
I've always been really butch and tomboyish. I've had different stages of my life where I've been more so or less so for different circumstances. I almost always, if I'm not read as a guy, I'm read as a butch lesbian. And that bothered me for a little bit when I was growing up in middle and high school, but I've come to embrace my identity and really enjoy playing with like menswear and androgyny.
I am half Moroccan and I'm half white. What else? I'm a black sheep and I'm kind of into being a black sheep. I'm like pretty introverted, with like a streak of spiciness.
Moment I'm doing a fair bit of political activism, primarily in response to a lot of the frankly shit that's being kicked up in the world at the moment. In my spare time, my favourite things to do are just to read. I love trashy television and going to the cinema, and I would say socialising is very important to me. Oh, and keeping fit as well.
Hang out with my art community, normally in a bar, or we turn our house into a bar sometimes too.
I studied art history, so I love going to museums. I love getting out and, being out with friends. I love eating. I love food, and I love going to get food and eating while I'm out there.
I play mostly League of Legends and Overwatch, as well as turn-based RPGs. I write a ton. And most of the time I'm actually at work, so I spend a lot of time at work as well.
I think people think I'm a cis straight female, which is one of the reasons why I have this like shave patch here, is because I don't necessarily want to pass as cis straight. I think the whole concept of passing is ridiculous.
I think that people misread me a lot initially. Like, I have a very harsh exterior sometimes, but once like you get to know me, or once like we have something in common, people realize I'm actually a really like gooey person.
I really have terrible self-confidence, so I don't necessarily think that people react to me at all, but I've been told that I make a positive impact on people, that I'm kind of charming, that I'm really charismatic, and so I'm not sure which of those two is true.
I always want to be thought well of. That's something I do care about, and I've come to realise that. And it's not a motivator that would make me go out of my way to do something just to look good. I hope it's not that. It's more like I want folk to think I'm nice, because I think I am, and it's something I try to do as my way of being in the world. So I would be so hopeful that others would pick it up from me.
You're so nicely curating it in a way as the intermediary of all of us that, I feel like there's less negative and harsh assumptions because they know you. And I think they know someone as good as you are surrounding yourself with good people. I think the scarier exercise is when you have complete strangers doing this to you, but that's every day on the subway, walking down the street to get some Dunkin' Donuts. That's what's happening.
I came out when I was around 12 to my community. People were making assumptions about me since I was in elementary school. And it's kind of second nature for me to assume that other people see me and assume one thing or another, usually in the area of gender identity or sexuality, or actually in the area of race as well.
I grew up in a really conservative Muslim household, and was like a super conservative Muslim, and I would try and whitewash a lot of things about myself and my home life and like what I believed in, when now I like literally could give two fucks.
I guess I always hope to see the best parts of people when I after I get to know them. I think that's what I always try to pull out of that is, kind of like what the best part of someone is. When I first meet someone, I just kind of hope that they engage with me in a conversation to get to that point where I get to know them.
It's really hard for me now to kind of shoot off assumptions about people based on what they look like or based on the way that they portray themselves. I'm definitely more comfortable just getting to know someone than making assumptions.
It surprised me how like I thought about certain things but not others for people. Like some facets, like how I could think about their relationships for some people but not others. That I thought was interesting. How I could like relate to women way more than men. Like I like didn't know what to do. I was like paralyzed. I was like, I don't know what they do. But that was weird. Yeah.
It was easier, I think, to come up with a storyline of somebody that looked like I would be like fast friends with them, because I could really clearly picture things that we would do together. But of course it makes you aware of like all of the judgments that we make and try not to make, but like do make about people. And, certain people that I had I didn't as easily come up with backstory for are possibly people that I am maybe a little less comfortable with. And so that's like my own sort of like, oh fuck, like I still have judgments about people, and you know, that sucks.